Taylor. He's one of our 1 million customers. He was hiding back there. And he also brought the coffee from Sugar Browns this morning. So thank you for that. And thank you, Sugar Browns, for donating the coffee. We always appreciate that. Our next presenter is Tia Clary from Stock Show Box. As she comes up, I'll talk a little bit about that. Stock Show Box is a free app Stock Show attendees can download to receive class postings and up-to-date information on class calls and show ring activities. So let's give a standing ovation to Tia Clary.
Okay, so I know I'm on the clock, right? When does my
6 minutes to present.
I have a lot to say.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Just going to add the website there.
My name is Tia Clary, and my husband Jim Bob Clary is here in the back. And I want to talk to you today about a software application that we developed for the agriculture industry, specifically for the stock show industry. And a shout out to Mike Jones in the back. He is our partner who coded the software application for us and did a great job for us. But my husband has an extensive background in the agriculture industry, and I'm just a city girl. And so my first exposure to the stock show industry was about 8 years ago when we took our son to a stock show in Fort Worth, and I had never really been to one before. And so we get up early and you're rushing around and you're getting ready and all the stock show supplies, and we get dressed and we get to the show barn and the show arena, and our kids happen to show pigs. I'm so sorry if you're a vegetarian in here, but we show pigs to market, so if you like bacon, that's why we show pigs. So we go to the stock show barn and we get ready and get there, and there's poop everywhere. And so I'm tiptoeing around, and Jim Bob just, heads right in, does his stuff. When I have an opportunity to get him aside, I say, there's poop everywhere, and I wore nice shoes. And he said, well, I just thought that was common sense. And I said, well, you need to tell your second wife that she wears a pair of rubber boots. So Jim Bob has an extensive background in the agriculture industry. I'm drawn to things that I can try to create more efficiency in. So I'm going to tell you the next thing that happened at that stock show. So kids can bring any number of pigs to the stock show. So let's say that year our kids brought 5 pigs to the stock show. And so I'm asking Jim Bob, okay, when does Pierce, our son, show his pig? And he says, well, you go to this big wall that has taped pieces of paper. And you look and find your son's name on there. And that's the class number he's showing it. I'm for real. This is how this information is communicated. So you go to the big wall, and I'm trying to find Pierce Clary, Pierce Clary, Pierce Clary, Pierce Clary, and that is how information is communicated to stock show exhibitors to find when they show. Everybody in here has a phone, right, in their hands? And this is how major stock shows are communicating to people on what number their show, their student, their son, their daughter is showing in. And so I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. Something has got to change. So this is 8 years ago. And then these major stock shows are a lot like the South Plains Fair. You can go and get on rides, you can go get a corn dog. You may step away from the show ring. You may go to the bathroom, and if you are not close to the show ring, you have no idea what order the show is on. And so that's another problem. So I'm telling Jim, I was like, well, I'm going to go to one of the vendors across the fairway and maybe shop or get a corn dog. What time does Pierce show? I don't know, text me. So I'm texting him, what show number are they on? Show 2. What show number are they on? Show 3. This is how these major stock shows communicate. They don't. You have to be in the proximity of the show ring to know what show order they are on. So this is 8 years ago. I'm like, this is nuts. So 2 years ago, we happened to be at a show in Plainview, Texas, and these shows last from, you're there 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And Todd knows, I talked to him about our project, and it's so fun to talk to you because you actually know this industry. So it's so foreign to so many people. So we wanted to get away from the show barn because our son maybe had a show, his pig in class 2 and then in class 30, and there could be a span of 5 hours. And if you are not in earshot of the ring, you have no idea if they're going to call you next. So we're hungry in Plainview. We want to go get away from the show barn. It stinks in there. I don't want to eat at the concession where you're smelling pig crap all the time. So I said, let's go to Leal's, and I want to eat some good Mexican food. We have a long time. So we go to Leal's. This is maybe 2.5 years ago. We go to Leal's and we sit down, we get our food, and we're cramming, and I said, well, do you know what class they're on? No. Do you want to text somebody at the Plainview show barn? Yeah. So you're texting them, saying, what is the announcer saying that what class numbers are on so when we need to be back to the show barn? This is reality. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so I tell Jim Bob, let's just do something about it. Let's create an app. This is ridiculous. We're going to make a difference in the stock show industry. So we hired Mike and his group, and we have this software application that stock show attendees can download for free. They can punch in their son or daughter's name or anybody's name and it pop up and say, Pierce is in class 1, class 13, class 15, class 26. You can highlight a bell so it'll notify you when they're called to the show ring. And there's also a live feed, so if you don't want to subscribe to the show ring, I can be sitting in Leal's outside of the pig barn where I don't have to smell pig crap, and I can look at my show feed at any time and say they're on class 5. Pierce doesn't show until class 15. We have plenty of time to get back to the show barn. So this is what Stock Show Box does for the stock show industry. We demoed it in Lampasas, Texas about a year ago. And from there, it caught legs, went to a show in Levelland, Texas. From there, it caught legs, went to a major show in Arizona. And from there, it caught legs, and we've had a couple of shows in California. So that's kind of, do I have time to show a quick video? Yeah. This was what the Arizona National, a major show. Oh, does it have sound?
Yes.
Oh, it's got Hampshire pigs.
I think I turned mine.
Looks like panda pigs.
Yeah, they're Hampshires.
Select the class that they're in, they can search by their last name if they want to.
So this is what a major show in Arizona had a news feed on our application.
Stock Show Box. A family out of Texas who created that, and I talked to them this last week, and we decided kind of last minute to use that app to manage our mock show, and everyone here at the show, we prompted them to download that app, and we're managing all of our classes through that, all of our class lists, and they can go in, they can select the class that they're in, they can search by their last name if they want to, they go over to the side, and there's a little bell that they can tap on, and it sends them reminders when their class is coming up. It's pretty incredible. So Stock Show Box, and I can't tell you how many people have said, oh my gosh, this thing is absolutely amazing. We're going to try to roll that out for all of our species, but that family there in Texas that created that, I can tell you, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning the other day, Texas time, and when we were here in Arizona, of course, it was about 1 or 2, somewhere in there, and we were uploading that sheet, waited all night to make sure that we were set, and it was 100%, called me and said, I saw you just loaded it, you're good to go.
So that was pretty cool that we had a shout out from that major show. We have one competitor that we know of in the United States of America. Our business model is a little bit different than theirs. They operate completely independently of the show. They ask for permission if they can go to the show and send out notifications. That app is not free to users that download it. There's a fee. Jim Bob and I wanted a completely separate model. I wanted a free app for people. I don't like to pay for technology and apps. People have the premise that technology is free, although we know it's not. But as an app user, I don't like to pay for apps. We wanted that free. So our revenue stream is that our model is we sell the application to the stock show industry, they run it. And so that's our model. We feel like our model is a little bit more sustainable because I don't have to go to a show. I don't have to have travel expenses to fly to a show, to drive to a show where our competitor has to actually be there. And that's a huge expense for them. Whereas our model is we're selling the software to the show, they run it. If they need support or help, they can call us or email. So that's a little bit about what we do. Did I miss anything that you think's important?
Okay, we'll take questions. This time, anybody?
How long did it take you to develop the code?
We think about 8 months, 6 or 8 months.
Probably.
From the time we first met with you until we had it pushed to the app stores and then the web app that goes along with it. And of course, Amy Wood up here in the front is your website.
Yes, it looks phenomenal. And the purple banner here, if you win a prize for a big pig or a great pig or a great steer, it's purple. So that's not even with the purple theme. But here's a picture literally of people looking at names on pieces of paper taped on walls to find information. That's for reals. Ridiculous.
So I have just a question. So do you have information? So you said that you were wearing nice shoes. Do you have stuff like that? It's like, hey,
No,
FYI, don't wear nice shoes. Or
No, because just idiot city people don't know that.
because that would be me. I would know too.
So everybody else would
Does it do, already thought about results?
Yes, and we have that also. I didn't say that. We just rolled that out within the last few months. That's one thing our competitor did. And actually, that's his format for communication. You know, when these classes are over, they place pigs 1 through 10, let's say. And so his method of communicating when one class was over and when one starts is the placings. And so ours is even better than that. We communicate when they're called to the ring, but then we play, the stock shows can place after that. And then our app also has general text notifications, so they can send out, if you subscribe to that show, you will receive general text notifications from the show that they can send out, like Grand Champion Steer was, you know, Tia Clary, or Grand Champion Barrow was Pierce Clary, or whatever. So general text notifications can go out too.
Well, I think it's fantastic that you have this niche and you're specific. Have you thought about using it for events in general? Like, what you're describing is every gymnastics meet we ever go to, minus the poop. So it's, it's the same thing, giant wall with
You are
hammers,
exactly right. The
yeah.
opportunities are endless, and in fact, my sister-in-law is a barrel racer. And she said, we need this for the barrel racing industry. I go and I have my horse, and I can't go into the barn with my horse yet. It's tied out at the trailer watering it, and I need to know what's going on. And I have to walk in or get an earshot or see somebody walking by, hey, do you know what number they're on? So yes, I mean, it can do, the concept is needed out there.
2 other areas that go on all day if you're a parent: swim meets,
Yes.
track meets.
Yeah, track meets. Yes, we were saying that at my niece's track meet a couple years ago. It was, we need stock show box for track. So yeah,
So in your revenue stream, you sell to the stock shows.
yes.
Is that a 1-year sale they buy?
It's a 1 year, one
They have to
at a
purchase it
time.
again the next year?
Yes, yes. So
How do you
there's
price
the
it?
renewal revenue stream.
Because I mean, Fort Worth Stock Show is a big deal.
Yes, and I've been trying to reach the Fort Worth Stock Show.
I mean, do you price it? How do you determine who pays how much?
Well,
Is it tiered, or-
we have a model. It's by head of animals.
Okay.
So that's our model right now. If you have so many head of animals, there's this tier of price
Yeah.
range that you buy the software. So that's how it's structured.
And you have a free tier, don't you?
We have a free tier. We wanted it, I mean, so many of these stock show or hometown stock shows, they're all nonprofits. All of them are nonprofits. The big ones, I mean, you can go to GuideStar.org and look at nonprofit tax returns of all these major stock shows, millions and billions of dollars. But these tiny stock shows out of Idalou, Texas, you know, they're barely surviving. It's all from donations. And so we wanted a free tier. So we have a free tier too. Yes.
What's the market look like? How many shows are there going on in the U.S., and do they have multiple shows a year?
Tons and tons and all year long. We had our show last year that we had in Lampasas was October, November. We had a show in December in Arizona, San Saba. In the spring, we had our show in California. They are all year long, summer shows. The opportunities are endless for stock shows.
Awesome.
How do you, I'm sorry, how do you market, how do you go and find your customers?
Well, right now, Amy has helped us tremendously with a Facebook presence and trying to get that. So far, the closes that we have made with stock shows is word of mouth. We went down to Lampasas for our demo show. Somebody caught wind of it, wanted it in the Levelland show. Somebody caught wind of it, wanted it in the Arizona show. Somebody caught wind of it and wanted it in California. That has been how we have closed sales. That it has been such a great communication tool that people are asking for, and so that has been, to this point, that has been how we have closed all of our sales. We actually had a repeat customer last week. It was our Lampasas show that we had gone to about a year ago. We told them that it was free. Jim Bob's from Lampasas, so we had a little bit of a rapport with that stock show board. So we went down there and helped them through some things. I think at first we were really seen as outsiders. It can be, Todd, you know how political that industry can be. And we were a little bit, they were kind of, and then they called us back this year and said, we want to use your software.
Market at the FFA.
I would love to do that.
I mean, I don't know how to reach those guys and gals, but
Yeah,
it seems like a
love
logical
to do
thing.
that. Yes.
Local high school.
So with the,
They must have magazines.
County agent, each
like
county.
especially for the
county
small
agent.
shows for free tier, is that something they can go through the website, sign up, and you don't have to
Yes.
mess with them?
Yes, at the top right over there, you see stock show registration. So it could be totally hands-off. We've had a scope of where we needed to be hands-on, and we needed the scope where we haven't had to help with anything. So they log in, create an account. There's a checkout process where they say, I have 1,000 head of swine. I check out, pay by credit card, buy the show, and they can do everything completely hands-off. We had a show in, it was the Arizona National Show, and then we had a show in, which of the California shows was real hands-off. Midwinter Fair, it was Imperial Valley. They didn't need our help at all. I mean, you have people that are some spreadsheet savvy. There's an upload where you can upload a spreadsheet to get the postings in there. They didn't need our help at all. You know, we had a show at Cal Poly, wasn't it Cal Poly, where it was student run. They needed a little more help. They couldn't navigate some of the headers on the spreadsheet and said, hey, can you do it for us? Yes, send me the spreadsheet, I'll send it upload. But we had a kid in Lampasas last week, that was our repeat customer who called us. And he's at A&M now. Last year he was a high school student, helped with that show, and didn't need our help at all.
What is the price? Let's say if you have 1,000 animals or 1,000 swans, how much you charge?
Are we about a quarter ahead or 50 cents ahead? We've negotiated some of those at this point. It has, I think the great flexibility about it is that Arizona National was really progressive, and they went out there, checked out, bought a show, did everything without our help. We've had some shows that are like, hey, can we negotiate on this pricing? Sure. I quote them a price. Mike can code it out something where we can override credit card processing on the back end and say, hey, they pay us by check or whatever. And so there's that flexibility in it too.
Are y'all handling support, or do you have, I mean, all calls come to y'all, or do you have more people that work
All
for you?
calls come to Tia. Yes. Yes, so we are stock show box at this point. And so the question of scalability is always in the back of my mind. We both have full-time jobs outside of this, unless we want to live on a couple $100 a times a year. And so, you know, scalability is, you know, what are those things in time where we need to hire full-time support? The difficult thing about stock shows is that it's midnight calls. It's 5 a.m. calls. It is not a It is not a regular business day.
At least you're not at your day job, though.
That is right. I'm not at my day job. I'm clocked out. Yes.
When someone downloads the app and like not an administrator, but
Yes.
a user, what info do they provide you?
The only thing they provide us is the email address and creating a password.
Okay.
That's it.
Did they give you their cell phone number if they want to get text or something like that?
No, when they subscribe to a show, there's a star that they click on to subscribe to that show. Then that's when they could get general text notifications from the show. So, for example, Idaloo Stock Show is, they have a live auction or a silent auction, so they can send out texts to the people, hey, our silent auction is about to start, come do good. So there's things that they can communicate to people who are interested in that show. Another great thing is it's not just for stock show attendees. We have Lubbock County, I didn't mention them, Lubbock County Swine Show used it, and that's an all-day show. Well, we had people that used it and told us that they were sitting on their couch at home seeing what class, who got grand champion, right there on their phone, you know, grandma or grandpa that can't get out and step over all the pig poo, you know, because they don't want to roll their little scooter through it. You know, they're at home and they can see what's going on right there. So we've had a lot. It's not just for people at the stock shows. It's for aunts, uncles, grandmas, you know, that care about who's at the stock show. So.
Not that I like this, but it depends on the information you capture on the people who get the app. Now you can make a mailing list and go out to other vendors that sell things to people that go to stock shows.
Yes.
Just don't put my name on it. I'm a city boy.
Yeah, come on. You've got to experience this. There's nothing like it.
I've been to the Fort Worth stock show type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. There.
Go ahead, sir.
No.
Oh, I talked to your husband and he's agreed to buy you a pair of boots.
I hope so. Some rubber boots, because we found an academy really quickly after that. And he knows to tell his second wife she needs one before she goes there.
With stock shows, aren't they selling the animals often after it?
Yes.
Have y'all thought about integrating any of that aspect?
We have. Like for Lubbock County Stock Show, we talked about last year putting an upload for sell order, is what it's called. So like the next day after the swine show, you go and there's a sell order. So we have talked about that, but I mean, we have to get to a point where we have to quit making improvements. We need some profitability on what we've rolled out at this point, but yes. In our list of what's next and the opportunities that are next, we would like to put sell order in there, right, Jamal? Was there anything else?
Well, you can kind of manipulate it to make it work anyway.
You can. There's a workaround in it, but we would probably be the only ones that would be able to do that workaround to post sell order. What else?
So several people mentioned that this application would be great for swim meets, gymnastic meets, track meets.
Barrel racers.
Barrel racing, all that stuff. Do you guys have any future plans? Would you entertain people approaching you about investing in the application in order to expand it, to cover more fields? Part one of the question. And part two is, you guys just see yourselves operating this for the next 10, 15, however many years, or do you have an exit strategy in mind?
We've talked about that. As far as, you know, again, about the scalability. We both have full-time jobs. So at what point do you expand? Do you hire full-time support people? Do you venture off into, you know, like I said, my sister-in-law was really interested in something for the barrel racing industry. So yes, I mean, that could be an opportunity for us to potentially, I guess, expand into another sector. Although, of course, the first thing that you want to look at for any business model is your customer base, and do you have a market? We have a huge market with the stock show industry. It's huge, and I know it is for track or anything else. So I would like to breach and penetrate this market first and make that really successful before we venture out there. But my sister-in-law would be the first one to say, do the barrel racing app first. And then what was your second question? Oh, exit strategy. We've talked about that. You know, I've told Jim Bob before. You know, do you want to? We have 2 teenage sons, full-time jobs, 5 pigs, a horse, and a donkey. And so at what point do we want to quit juggling all of this? And what would be our exit strategy if we needed an exit? And exit could mean, you know, we quit one of our jobs, or, you know, exit could mean, do we want to sell off the app? You know, yeah, I mean, I guess all those things, the answer could be yes. You know, I mean, would we want to sell that off to the Houston Stock Show and say, you own the rights to it, and you're, yes. I mean, a potential partner for us and a potential competitor for us both, that could be either, is a ShowWorks, is a big software management tool for stock show industry. So if people use ShowWorks, they can spit out the spreadsheet that can upload into our software. But then if they don't use ShowWorks, we have a spreadsheet tool for them that is a macro that we also ask them to develop for us. So that's what our Lampasas show did. We sent them this macro. It said, here, you fill out all the exhibitor information, and boom, then it uploads into the app. So we have a different you know, business models there for people that use ShowWorks or don't use ShowWorks, but ShowWorks is a huge software company out there. I mean, we could have a preferred provider agreement between, you know, I've thought about those things. Do you get them on our side? They could develop an iOS, Android app and sell it along with their ShowWorks software, so they're a potential competitor for us, but they're also a potential partner for us. So those have been some of the conversations that we've had.
All right. I think we're out of time there. So our last question is, what can we do as a 1 Million Cups community to support you?
I guess a couple of things. The stock show industry is really political. We try to find some inroads for communication on stock show boards. If you know anybody on a major stock show board or that industry, it would be great to be able to get before that board. If you have any experience in preferred provider agreements, potentially that's something that we need to consider maybe presenting to ShowWorks. Could they put something on their website saying Stock Show Box is a preferred provider agreement for stock show communication pieces, that type of thing. Those are really the things I think that rise to the top.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you so much.